Hi everybody, welcome to our webinar on the diary. We are cheating this week. We've pre-recorded this one all the way through because Arwen's off to a wedding on the 28th. So
it's rude of me. I know it's really rude of me on webinar day.
So while we're all at our desks working hard, Arwen will be sipping champagne at a lovely wedding. But we didn't want to let you down. We wanted to make sure that you could still join us today and get some learning done. Usual structure. Arwen's pre-recorded all the content, so we're going to press play on that in just a second. And then if you do have any questions, we won't be doing a live Q&A, but please do drop them in the comments and we'll come back to you in the comments later this afternoon, because I'm not at a wedding, I'm sat at my desk, sadly.
I won't come back to you on questions, but Laura will.
I'm going to have Katie on speed dial, so if there's anything I'm not sure of, yeah, she's going to love me. So, Arwen, I hope you have a lovely time at the wedding. And thank you for pre-recording everything for us so that we could still get this out.
We've still got to get the diary info out there, Lauren. We've still got to get it out there.
It's a crucial part. It's a crucial part.
It is.
So we'll play the video now. Hope you enjoy it, guys. And we'll catch you in a few weeks' time when we will be looking at job costs. See you later.
See you soon.
So hello everyone and welcome back to our webinar. Today we're going to be focusing on our business pilot diaries. Now I personally know for many of you the diary serves as such a crucial touch point, and what it allows you to do is track sales, survey, service call appointments, and as well as this, the holiday and standard appointments for all users. Now, as we all know, visibility across the diaries is essential for smooth day-to-day operations, and what Business Pilot has done is designed a diary functionality to make this process seamless. So what I want to explore with everyone today is an overview of our diary, how the appointments appear and how they are colour-coded, how to add appointments to the diary, how to filter and manage some of these diary settings. And I've also included a little segment today of how these appear in the app and how they also appear within the schedule board. Now, I know for many new users to Business Pilot that diary transition is such a crucial part. So this is certainly going to be very valuable for those of you that are slightly newer on boards, or some of you that maybe don't feel like you're using the diary to its full potential. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the system and I'll get showing you all the diary feature. So let's firstly discuss how we access our diary. So to do this, we're going to head into our main menu and we are going to go down into diary. Now, when we first access our diary, it is going to filter by me as a user. And what this is going to allow me to do is prioritise my own appointments for my working week. So you'll see here what I'm looking at is an overview of my appointments that are scheduled in for this current working week. Now up in my filter users box, I have got the option to click on the X next to my name and that will remove that filter. And what that's now allowed me to do is see any appointments in the diary for this particular working week for all users. Not only all users, it is also letting me see all the different appointment types. So I think what would be good is to understand those appointment types a little bit more. So what I want to talk us through is what all the colour coding means and how I can identify this when I first come into the board. So to begin to identify these different appointment types, let's take a look at the colours. Now, just to explain how I wanted to demonstrate this to you today, I'm going to be filtering it by per appointment type, and then I will explain to you what the colour means and where these can be booked. So let's begin by filtering these appointments by our sales appointments. Now you'll see here, these appointments will show up in red. They will have an S in the corner here, and these appointments can be booked through the lead area. Then moving on to our survey appointments. Now these are going to be displayed in green. They're going to have a V in the corner, and these can be booked through the lead and also the contract record. Now moving on to our service and remedial appointments. Now these will show up in blue. They will have an R in the corner, and these can be booked through the main contract record under the service call tab. Or if the service call has already been raised, these will also show up through your main menu and under your service call area. Then moving on to our holiday appointments. Now these are going to be displayed in teal and they will have a H in the corner. And these are booked in manually through the diary. Then lastly, we move on to our standard appointments. Now standard appointments are in purple. They will have an A in the top right corner, and these are also booked manually through the diary. And these can even be made a reoccurring appointment, such as this one. I have made that a reoccurring appointment to show up every Friday. So now that we understand the colours, let's try and understand a bit more about filtering your diary. Now we've already taken a look at these two filters and applied those, but what I was hoping to demonstrate to you now is how you're able to customise that view a little bit further. So if, for example, I would need to see my service calls for a specific user, I can apply both of these filters simultaneously. So if I want to apply the filter there for my service and remedial, and I just want to see the ones that Ray is going to, you'll see there that I can apply both of those filters here from within the diary and create that bespoke view that I am seeking. Now, another reason might be that you're managing multiple surveyors, for example. So what I can do is maybe just filter my appointment types by survey. And then what that allows me to do is have a look and determine who is best to allocate this survey to once I take a look geographically at where they are and where I have my new survey to book. Now, one thing I always like to note here that this is kind of isolated to my sales team. If you want to put any restrictions in place for your salespeople so they are only allowed to see their own appointment types, this is a setting that can be found in the admin menu, and this will be under them as a user. So in your admin, under company and users, I would click into my users. I would find my salesperson record, and you'll see here that I have 2 yes or no toggles to only be able to see my own leads and diary appointments and my own contacts. If they are both toggled to yes, then that is the only visibility I would have from within the diary. So now we know our appointment types, it feels like a good time to take you through the process of booking these appointments into the diary and where you need to go to do that. So I wanted to start today by taking you through how to book a sales or a survey appointment. And to do that, I'm going to open up a lead record. So I'm going to find my lead. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find my salesperson. I'm going to select my salesperson from the drop-down list. And then I'm going to click on Book Demo Now. Now what that's going to do is filter by that particular user, and it is also going to filter by the appointment types based on the appointment you've chosen. So what we're looking for here is any other sales appointments or those standard or holiday appointments. From here, I'm then going to find my date and time that I would like to book my appointment for, and I'm going to double click into my desired date and time. And then from here, we're just confirming some of those details. And what that's going to include is we're going to confirm we're in the correct date and the duration of time is as we need it. Just remembering that if you need to change that, you can click on the clock icon. This does go up in 30-minute increments, but it does allow you to type in here if you need to. So in the event you need something more specific, such as 11:15, then it will allow you to type in here as well. There is also a description box for any of those details if required. We've then got a provisional tick box. So if we do need to book one in as provisional, we can simply tick that, and this appointment will go in as provisional. You've then got a send email confirmation tick box. Now it's important to note here that email confirmation is referring to the salesperson, not the customer. So what this will do when I save this, if I have that ticked to yes, it will send an email over to the salesperson, letting them know that an appointment has been booked for them. Our 4 has populated based on who we selected as our salesperson. And we then have the option to select a preferred location. In here, the drop-down includes full contact address. It might be showroom or virtual, but it will default to the in-store address. Then we're going to click on Save. Now the red banner that was underneath there is going to turn green, and it will show you in here who it is booked for. If I click on the salesperson's name, then it will take me to that entry there in the diary. Now this process is the same for surveys as well. So if I do want to book my surveyor in through the lead, I can simply select them from the drop down and follow those same steps. Now what is key to remember here is that with those survey appointments, I can also do that from my contract record. So I am now in a contract record, and you'll see that I've got the same drop down in here for surveyor, and I can follow those same steps to book a survey appointment. Booking in our service calls. Now to book in a service call, this can be done immediately after you raise that service call. So I'm in the service tab at the moment, and this is a call that I have raised today, and you will see that it still gives me the option to book. Now an alternative is, if you do need to make some logistical plans prior to you booking it in, you might choose to go and book it in through the service call area. To do this, you would head to your main menu and down to service. You would then click into your live service calls. Now from here, always a good indicator that this is one that is waiting on a date being booked in, is opposed to the pencil icon we ordinarily see here, you'll see that it has a diary icon instead. This is for any of those ones that are pending a date. Now that isn't our only way to identify this. You have always got the fallback of your status column, and I can see against these 2 in particular that they are still sat on waiting date. So if I wanted to book that directly in from here, I could click on the diary icon. My same box would appear that does in the contract page, and I can click on book. And then what I'm looking at here is a filtered version of the diary, looking for any survey, standard, service and remedial, or holiday appointments. From here, I can specify who my service engineer will be. I can then proceed to book the appointment in my normal way. So I would find my desired date and time, and I would double click. Now with your start and end time here, something valuable to note is when you are raising your service call and it asks you for an estimated amount of time on site, whatever figure you input into there, your appointment time will default to. So if I had put that in to say that it would take me an estimated 2 hours to complete this service call, this appointment would have defaulted to that 2 hours. Now the rest of these booking details remain the same as our other appointments, so we have our option to mark it as provisional, send an email confirmation to my service engineer, and then I could input the for and the location here as well. Once I've done that, I can then click on save. It will then show me within my service call here what time this is booked for and who it is booked for. I then also have the option now to amend the booking if I need to. From here, I'm going to click on update. And what we'll see now within that service call is that diary icon has now changed to a pencil icon, allowing me to view it if I need to. And the status has now changed to booked in. And in my booked in column, I can see the date and time in there as well. And finally, moving on to our holiday and our standard appointments. So I'm going to work in the diary to do this because these appointments are booked manually. So therefore, we will need to be in the diary. I'm then going to filter this by my name because it's me that is booking the holiday in for. And then using the arrows, I'm going to move into the week that I would like to book my holiday in for. From here, I'm going to double click into the entry. It's going to firstly prompt me for a title. Now you might choose to just put holiday in here and that is absolutely fine. I've chosen to put in my holiday destination. Then I have my start and my end dates. And in addition to that, I also have the time of my working day if I choose to block it out that way. So I'm going to leave my start time at 8 o'clock and I'm going to amend my finishing time to 5 o'clock. Now my end date, I would like to be the 11th, so I'm also going to change that now. Now you will note we do also have the all day event tick box here as an option, and this will show at the very top of the diary page under the column that is labelled all day. Now you do have the option to repeat the process here, so whether you want to make that a reoccurring appointment. I will be taking us through that next, just to show you for more of those standardised appointments, how you'll be able to put those in. We then have our provisional tick box and our send email confirmation tick box again. We have our for, and then we have our type of appointment. And you'll see here that we only have the option for our standard or our holiday appointment. So there's no risk of accidentally booking a lead appointment this way. It will only bring up those two options for you by booking it manually. So I'm going to select my holiday. I'm then going to click Save. Now that is my holiday provisionally booked in to the diary. Now what I wanted to show you here is it is still going to be clear what kind of appointment this is. I still have my H in the top right corner and I can still see my teal colour poking through on either side. What you'll note is that it does block out the middle section of the appointment in white, and this is a great indicator that this is a provisional appointment. To confirm it, I would simply just need to double click back into there and I would untick my provisional box, click Save again, and that then becomes a confirmed appointment. Now the slight difference between those holiday and those more standard appointments when you are booking those into the diary, you might find that you want to make these more of a reoccurring appointment and they might be a little bit more frequent for multiple users. So what I wanted to show you today, if in the event you need to create an appointment, a standard appointment, for example, if you need to make the office aware on days that you are available for survey, that might be the kind of thing that you would want to put in as a standard appointment. What I'm going to show you today is me putting a reoccurring appointment in for Jamie to say that he's available for surveys in the month of April on Monday, Wednesdays and Friday mornings. So firstly, I'm going to find my current week and I've filtered my diary by Jamie. I'm then going to double click into my entry date. In my title, I'm putting available for surveys. I'm then going to put in my start and my end time. So I'm going to put in 1 o'clock for my end. And then where I've got repeat and I've got my options, I'm going to change that to weekly. I'm then going to select my Monday, Wednesday and Friday days. And then you'll see under my end option, I can either have that set to never, and that will just constantly reoccur between now and the end of time, or I can specify when I would like that occurrence to end. So I'm going to set that to the end of April. And then I've got my normal options here. So provisional, I've got my description box. And then the difference here on my type, I will change that to standard. Then I'm going to click on Save. And you'll see there that's put in Jamie Brent is available for surveys, and I've made that as a reoccurring appointment. Now, one thing I always like to point out here around these standard appointments is if this is for a multi-person booking, then you will need to repeat the process for each user, as currently invitations cannot be sent from within the system. So I wanted to take this opportunity now to recap with the ground we've covered so far. So we know how to access our diary. We know how to identify the colour of the appointments. We know how to filter the diary to ensure efficiency. And we also know how to book all of our appointment types. So what I wanted to take you through next was how to amend a booking and also how to book an additional appointment. So to do that today, I wanted to head into the lead to show you. Now, if in this instance, I would like to book an additional appointment for the salesperson, potentially for the customer to either come and visit the showroom, or this might just be by as per the request from the customer that they require a second visit. So I would click on the name highlighted in green again, and that will open me up into the diary. And then what it'll allow me to do is I might want to move into my following week using the arrows at the top. I would find my new date and time that I would like to book in my appointment for and double click. Now I could leave it there and click book, but I might want to change my location here in the instance they were coming into the showroom, for example. And then I can click on save. So I've gone in and repeated the process that we did to book it initially, but it has allowed me to book a second appointment. Good to remember is I can always go to the top and I have my appointments tab. This appointments tab lives within the lead and also the contract record. And what this will show me is a history of the appointment types that are booked and their locations. So that would be a way to book an additional appointment. But how would I look to amend an existing one? So let's go back into that diary again. And let's say I wanted to amend that appointment I just booked. Maybe it's that I want to change the date, or I might even want to change the time. I can amend both of those by using these icons here. And then when I click on save, that will update that appointment for me. Let's head back in to take a look. And you'll see there I've amended that booking. Now there is also another option, and I'm going to head into the main diary to show you this, and that is to drag and drop the appointments. So while I'm in my diary, to move this appointment, say to a later time in the day, I have always got the option to just drag down and I can amend my appointment that way. Now this will update in that lead record with its new time. And if you prefer to click send email confirmation, then the salesperson will also be notified of the change if you have done it on their behalf. This applies to all of those appointment types as well. So if I need to change a service call appointment, again, I've got the option to drag and drop. Not only that, I can also drag the appointment down itself to extend the time if I need to. So now felt like a good time to talk to you about where you can view these appointments. So we know how to get those into the diary, but how will our users be viewing them? Now, if you are an app user, what I wanted to talk to you about is how these are going to display in our BP Site app. Now you'll see here that it brings you up a list of any of the appointments that are booked in. So I have 2 leads booked in for today, and that's what I'm viewing here in the app. If I click on that appointment to expand the view, then you'll see that that's taken a snippet of all of those key details from the lead, and it is showing me them there and displaying them for me in the app. Now, as well as that, I can see any documents and images that have been made visible from within the app as well. where you might want to see some of those appointments will be in your schedule board. Now, a lot of you may have members of the team that cross over with installations, but also go out on surveys and service calls. Now, although you still primarily will book those through the diary, you do still have a way of viewing these all in one place via the schedule board. If I turn this toggle on that says show service calls and surveys, then you will see that those appointments overlay on the top there. Even if there's more than one, you still have the option to scroll down and see any of those appointments that are booked in. Now, a key thing to remember here that if you do want them to show up in the board as well, you will need to make sure that your installers as a user are set up via the admin menu and you have allocated their team to their user. Let me show you that. So if we head into our admin menu and then we head into our users, I'm going to go to Ray's user and you'll see that the team that I have Ray allocated to is Rob and Ray, and that is what is ensuring that his appointments for any service and surveys are showing up within the schedule board. If this isn't visible for you currently when using this toggle, this would be the first thing that I would ask you to check just to ensure that's set up correctly, and then you should be able to see all those appointments all in one place. So I had one final topic that I wanted to talk to you all about today, and that is your diary settings. Now, what I mean by that is if your diary is set up, for example, to start at 7 and potentially end at 6, like mine is, then your settings will default to this based on our setup. Now, if you work alternative hours to that, you might find that you want to amend these. And to do so, you would head into your admin menu. Under company and users, you will find diary. And what this allows you to do is set your workday start time and your workday end time. As well as that, you'll be able to specify when your week starts and when your week ends. So if visually in your diary you only want to see the hours between 9 and 4, Monday to Friday, you would be able to reflect this here. Now, one thing to make you aware of, any settings that you amend within the admin menu will alter for everybody. So this is not on an individual basis. This will change the diary's view for everybody. Now, another setting I always feel is worth mentioning is the BP site app settings. Just to note here that if you do want people to see the appointments for a particular amount of days ahead, this is where you would amend these. Now, the one talking about appointments, the option here is referring to any sales, survey or service calls. When we're talking about installations in the app, this is what we would refer to as a scheduled job, and that works on a week basis. So how many weeks ahead would you like to see? But for those appointments that are in the diary, this is where you can specify how far in advance you would like to see them. So for our avid webinar viewers, you will know that normally at this stage in our webinars, I will give you my top tips on the key area that we are discussing. So to do that today, I wanted to kick that off by giving you my first tip, which is trial the app. Now, given that we're talking about the diary, it might seem like this is a bit of a rogue tip, but why I would say that is because the Business Pilot app is a very powerful tool. And what it's going to ensure is that making that diary integration is going to be as seamless as possible for the salespeople, the surveyors, and the service engineers. What I can guarantee is that whatever diary you're using at the moment to go out on these appointments, the Business Pilot app will be a more efficient way of doing this. Not only that, but it will provide them with much more detail than potentially what they are receiving now. And all of that can be done with a lot more ease just by pulling it through from the lead directly, and you would have already input a lot of that data. So I would say trialing the app and finding that your team members are getting on well with the app. And when you start to see the benefit there, you will certainly see the benefit to booking these in through the diary. My second tip would be to familiarise yourself with the diary. So whether you're on a desktop or you're on a tablet or you're on your phone, understanding this diary layout and the colours, all of this information is going to enhance the efficiency of how you use it. And thirdly, I would say input accurate information. Now, again, this one feels a little bit more self-explanatory, but the diary is only as effective as the data that is entered into it, as with most areas in the system. So booking those appointments and ensuring that smooth scheduling is going to reduce a lot of that dependency on that calendar access that we normally come up against. So certainly inputting that accurate information for all of the team, and it's certainly going to get you off on the right foot with using the app and the diary alongside one another. So that concludes our diary webinar for today. I really hope that you all found this session valuable. Please leave any questions in the comments section below and we will be getting back to you with answers today. And I'm once again really sorry that Laura and I could not join you live today, but we will be back in 2 weeks with our next instalment. And good news, we will be back and doing our Q&A live instead. Now, just a reminder that we do really appreciate the feedback for these webinars. The more feedback we get, the more valuable we can continue to make them. So you will all be receiving a feedback request shortly. So if you could take a couple of minutes just to send some feedback over, then we would really appreciate it. And I'm wishing you all a great weekend and I'll be back with you soon. And thank you again so much for watching.